In this installment, we're going to be going over the Eastern Conference Finals showdown slate, game number 4 between the Boston Celtics and the Miami Heat on DraftKings. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Chef D, and I'm here to bring you the winning ingredients for our Game 4 Eastern Conference Final Showdown slate, which is a possible sweep here we got going on between the Celtics and the Miami Heat. But before I deep dive into that, guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MetsNetsJetsD. Don't forget about that TikTok at Chef_D91. And don't forget about the Patreon. If you want more exclusive DFS plays, that's going to be in the Patreon. We're getting you guys ready for fantasy football and best ball slates as well on Underdog Fantasy. If you want more exclusive NBA bets, that's going to be part of that package on the Patreon. So if you want to get involved in the community there, shout out to Zach for sending a nice donation as well through the Patreon. So guys, get connected. We're winning over here. That link is provided down below. We're going to start off at the top here for the captain position, and we're going to go back towards, should I say Jimmy Butler? No, we're going to start off with the Boston Celtics because this is do or die. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, these are going to be the two main captains you need to focus on in this slate if they have a chance, okay? When you're doing a lineup build, all right, for these one-game slates, you have to build it around a narrative. So I suggest you build narratives around the Celtics getting to a Game 5, and you build narratives of the Heat sweeping. In my mind, the way I'm seeing just the body language of the Boston Celtics, I'm leaning more towards a sweep, but you gotta play devil's advocate, and you gotta expect the most talented team, which is technically the Boston Celtics. That's the most talented team, all right? They have to step up. That has to rise to the top if they're even just gonna win one game. So in this scenario, Jason Tatum is going to be a guy we're going to need to focus on. We know the numbers here. He just needs to knock. Actually, this was his worst game. He didn't make any shots at all. He played solidly in the other two games. He just didn't close out in the fourth. And then in this Game 3, it was totally flat. They had no energy. And you saw his disdain on that sideline. There's many clips of Jason Tatum on that sideline as the Miami Heat were going up 25 to 30 points in that game. All right, so Tatum's going to be one of the captains we can focus on. Number 2, obviously, as we know, is Jaylen Brown. They have a chance. This 1-2 punch needs to step up and come forth. We already seen big blow-up games from Jaylen Brown. Can he bring it back? I don't know. I think the Miami Heat have taken the soul out of this team and the Boston Celtics, all right? So if we're going to go to the Miami side of the narrative, the first guy we're going to talk about is Jimmy Butler himself. Jimmy Butler. Baby Jordan here has been outstanding. Obviously, his numbers were dropped down just a tad bit there in Game 3 because it was a complete blowout. Everyone was getting minutes here. Caleb Martin obviously stepped up. Gabe Vincent stepped up. They had enough minutes for Duncan Robinson to go off for 20 real points as well. So it was absolutely an affair out there for the whole entire Heat team. I believe this game's going to be a little bit closer. I don't think it's going to be a clear-cut blowout yet again. This is going to be more of a close contest. It's going to come down to that crucial fourth quarter, and we're going to see who's going to step up. So Jimmy Butler is going to be one of those guys we're going to key in on. Number 2 for Miami Heat will be Bam Adebayo. Bam Adebayo obviously only had 22 fantasy points. That's because it was a blowout. They didn't really need much of him, but he made impact plays. All right, just creating energy for the Miami Heat crowd and for the team. Those big alley-oops. He was bullying Jaylen Brown as well. And they want to go back to that well. work on that one-on-one game with Bam Adebayo down low, and he has some very favorable matchups when they get switches. If it's not Al Horford, sometimes they get Brown on them. If they're looking like they're going small, Derek White has been on them on a few occasions. So Bam Adebayo at this price, $9,400 in salary, I can go towards him. He has some upside to getting you at the top of the leaderboards at that captain spot. You already see him go off for 57 and 40 in the previous series, so it's definitely in his bag. So Bam Adebayo, I do like him as a captain position. And we're going to have one cheaper flyer guy, okay? Gabe Vincent was the one that went off last game. I think this particular game is going to be the veteran in Kyle Lowry. I like him as one of the cheaper util type of players that can come up and become a captain that can be worthy. All right, you've seen him in some series. He's coming out and scoring, being very aggressive. All right, in game one in this series against Boston, 28 fantasy points. We saw nearly 40 fantasy points in the Knicks series as well, 37.5. We saw him 30 and 26.75. So the upside is there if things get really going. And say the first starting five starts to struggle, Kyle Lowry is one of the first guys off the bench. He's providing a scoring punch and assisting the ball very well, okay? So Kyle Lowry, if you want to do a little dart, maybe a little pinch of him as the captain, I would not mind that at all, right? You can go back to the well to Gabe Vincent as well. He had a fantastic day. We're going to talk about him when we get to those utils next. At the utility position, we're going to start out with Gabe Vincent, who I just spoke about. He went absolutely berserk. This one came out of nowhere, all right? Yes, he's been the starter, but he has not been producing, and he went completely off. Look at the past 4 games. 15, 26, 19, 17. Not much of a factor, but then we see a huge boost here. Once he got going, they kept feeding him, all right? 11 of 14, 78% field goal percentage. He was 6 of 9 from that three-point line. So when we're talking about these util guys, some of these particular individuals can go off and become a very good captain, a very sneaky captain as well. Gabe Vincent was one of those guys in the previous game. So we're talking about a home team, and then I always facilitate it with the role players. So the role players of the Miami Heat are going to be Gabe Vincent, number one, who we just spoke about. He's going to be a solid util spot. Max Strus is someone that can go off and become a captain. He's definitely someone that we can look towards and really finish out this sweep here if he's knocking down his threes, all right? 4 of 10 in that New York series, 2 of 8. We want a little bit of better percentage there. We want 40% from Max Strus, but he's certainly capable of knocking down enough threes to get 20 real points, chip in a couple assists and rebounds, and really go off to finish off this Boston Celtics team, all right? So Max Strus is at a very nice price for util as well. And then Caleb Martin, all right? It's not even a trio. It's 4 guys. It's Caleb, it's Kyle Lowry, it's Gabe Vincent, and it's Duncan Robinson. So Caleb Martin here is going to be the next guy we're going to talk about at this price of $6,400. 31 fantasy points after 35 and then 32 in game 1. He's been the most consistent. So he's going to be my favorite util person to go towards, and he's someone that you can creep up in that captain spot as well. Just 1 or 2 lineups just to throw in there just to see what happens, because it's not always going to be cut paste Jimmy Butler, cut paste Jason Tatum, cut paste Jaylen Brown. Some of these guys have big blow up spots like we saw in the previous game, Gabe Vincent. And then Caleb Martin has been super consistent. I'm pretty sure you've been getting away with Caleb Martin at the captain spot and really filling in with Tatum, with Bam, with Jimmy Butler. That's the benefit of going cheap at the captain. If they go off enough, you're going to have better util positions than anyone else in the tournament. When we're talking about all the stars in your util, instead of spending all on that captain spot, that becomes a whole different scenario there, and it's going to boost you up straight to the top of the leaderboard. So Caleb Martin is definitely worthy because he's been getting nearly 40 fantasy points in 3 straight games, all right? On the Boston side, we're going to look towards Grant Williams. He's getting more minutes now. They haven't decided if they want to play Robert Williams. If not, but what we have seen is that Grant Williams has earned minutes on the court. As you can see, 26 and then 29 in back-to-back games. He's knocking down his threes. That's what he's being asked to do, and come out with some solid rebounds. So he's going to be a very good punt play at this very cheap price of $2,400. All right. Next player we're going to talk about is Marcus Smart. All right. This is their high-energy guy, dirt, gritty, grimy guy, similar to what you get from Kyle Lowry. Marcus Smart does provide that. And I went to the well with him in the previous game. He was the better Boston Celtics out of all of them. All right, he finished with 8 points, 8 assists, 9 rebounds, 30 fantasy points. If it wasn't a blowout, if he stayed on the court and things were a little more competitive, we could be looking at nearly 40 fantasy points. So we're going to go back to that well there for Marcus Smart at the util position, all right? And then last but not least, we're going to go towards Malcolm Brogdon. Malcolm Brogdon was a key acquirement for the Boston Celtics. They're six-man, and he did not show up in that game. It was finally his first poor performance. All right, he was 0 for 6 in 18 minutes in game number 3. I expect him to bounce back. He was the sixth man of the year. Malcolm Brogdon has been very solid all season long, and he's going to have to provide a punch to keep things afloat for the Boston Celtics, to keep up pace with the Miami Heat, who've been scorching hot right now. So Malcolm Brogdon will finish out our util players. Guys, thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and I'll be back with another video very soon. Make sure if you're not already a subscriber, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Go to the page and check out some other content as well.